This is Maddie. What's up?
Yeah.
Hey guys, my name is Maddie. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, I'm an NPC bikini competitor. If you're new here, I am an NPC bikini competitor, online coach for contest prep athletes and lifestyle athletes. The link is down in the description for coaching. Would love to work with any and every one of you. But without further ado, I know you guys have heard me talk on this channel about the Queen Jenni. This is Jenni. Jenni and I met at Crunch. Actually, we bonded over Buff Bunny. She was wearing the OG Ultra Range Vans. She has them in white. She's a brave soul. And Buff Bunny shorts. And I went up to her and I was like, I love those shorts and I love Ultra Range. And so the friendship blossomed, and Jenni and I spend multiple nights together every single week.
Yeah.
But I wanted to invite Jenni onto the YouTube channel to talk about a topic that or something that I really admire in her, and I don't even know if I've fully grasped it yet. I got into bodybuilding because I had an eating disorder, and it just was kind of a segue into bodybuilding, and bodybuilding has been a very healthy outlet for me. But it's really cool to have a friend in my life who is my age, our age. How old are you?
25.
25. And takes such good care of herself, but also has this balance. And I think when you're in your 20s, it's really, really tough to have, care and show up in your career, show up in your relationships and your friendships, date, and then also show up in the gym. So without further ado, I've typed up some questions, and I'm just going to kind of ask you those, and we'll just go about it. So my first question for you is, what do you do for a living?
I work in public relations, and I work for an agency. I represent like 7 or 8 clients at a time that are mainly in like the med tech field.
So you work from home.
I work from home.
Okay. But it's a full-time job.
Yes.
Okay. And then how did you get into health and fitness? Has it been something you've always done? Were you involved in sports when you were younger?
Yeah, I always grew up active. I did cheerleading, and then when I went to college, kind of all of that went away. And I started going to the gym, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Mm-hmm. And I still don't necessarily know that I know what I'm doing, but I try. But it just started in college because I was like, all right, I need to be physically active. Like, I knew that it made me feel better about my body. It made me like mentally a lot happier after I would work out. So I needed to incorporate it into my life in some way.
Okay. Well, actually, one of my questions for you, and so I guess we can kind of jump to that because you said you still don't feel like you fully know what you're doing. Do you ever feel intimidated in the gym? And what do you do to overcome those feelings? Because for somebody like me, I feel like being a health and fitness influencer, I've almost ate the frog, and I film myself, and I wear crazy things I feel like I'm so out there that I just had to get over it. Mm-hmm. But what do you do to overcome gym intimidation?
I think I'm not intimidated about going to the gym or trying something new ever anymore. But I think it took a long time. When I started going to the gym, I would never go by myself. I would always go with a friend. Mm-hmm. And I was very classic, would keep it on the Stairmaster the whole time. Okay. I would never go to the free weight section ever. I would maybe toy around on some of the machines. And I did that for years.
And then you just eventually one day were like, this is not serving me?
Yeah, right. And then I eventually would start going with friends who knew more what they were doing, and they would kind of show me the ways, and then I became comfortable going on my own and trying new things on my own.
Okay. So really, key there is bring somebody who knows their shit. One of my questions for you is, what do you consider a healthy and balanced lifestyle? What does that look like for you? Are you going out on weekends? Are you...
Yeah, I think for me, I'm very strict during the week. I have a super set routine, and I really don't like to stray away from it at all. Mm-hmm. I work out Monday through Friday. I eat super clean. I always cook my food at home. And then on the weekends, I kind of allow myself to do whatever. The weekends are my rest days. I do whatever I want. I still like to stay active, but I'll do more like yesterday I went to a Pilates class, and I'll do like maybe a yoga class, or I'll just like, I want to be active, I'll go on a walk.
And this morning you played pickleball.
Yeah, I'll play pickleball, like things like that, but it's not like going to the gym, like my set routine. I'm still staying active, but it's a balance of like I do it with friends.
Yeah.
It's a fun environment.
One of the pieces of advice that I give my clients when they find that they're very, very strict throughout the week, and then on the weekend it's like balls to the wall, they're binging, they're like sitting on the couch, they're not doing anything, is to at least get your body moving on the weekend. Do something that is bringing your awareness to your physical body, and you'll find that just because you did pickleball, you're more mindful of your eating habits throughout the day. Like just because you did Pilates, you're now thinking, oh, I don't want to blow it by going to get shit food all day.
Yeah.
Okay, so balance for you is more about having a really good set routine during the week, allowing yourself to have a little bit more flexibility on the weekend, but still keeping things that are keeping you sane and in the headspace of healthy in place on the weekend.
Because also for me, it's like very obvious that like when I start my day by going to the gym, I have a great day. Like it's such a good start to the day. Like it's a jump start. I feel so good about myself. And if I don't go to the gym one day, like it's a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
So that's why like on the weekends too, even if it's like, yeah, it's my free day and like I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to go to the gym, but I still want to feel good. So I still want to like go play pickleball and be active because it makes me feel better.
Yeah. I remember, so this past week, Jenni was not able to go to the gym one day, and I was like, she never comes on the weekend. I don't like my Saturday workouts. And I was like, are you going to come on Saturday? She's like, I was thinking about it because I skipped on Monday. Yeah. Okay. So it kind of, you might have already answered this, but my second question was, why is it important for you to have balance in your life? So why don't you feel like you can go like 6 weeks without those weekends, where you sort of give yourself a little bit of grace and a break?
I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like everything for me is about balance. Like I also like, I'm a super career driven person and I dive into my work, but I also know like when I'm done working that I need to have the balance to like close it down and like do something else for myself. So it's like I always try and have balance of like, what are the things that like make me happy and how am I incorporating that into every day?
Okay.
And you can't like, for me, I can't fully dive into something and then be balanced in other aspects.
Sure.
So it's just I have to figure out how to like, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to work. And then once that's done, I'm going to hang out with my friends. Like I have to make space for all of those things that I enjoy.
Yeah. And I think that that's really something too that at our age, girls lose sight of.
Yeah.
Because they will either not pay any mind or any attention to the things they're eating, the time they're going to bed, cleaning their space, their environment, and then all of a sudden they'll flip a switch and go on like a 6-week cleanse or a 6-week program, or they'll cut calories and start tracking, and that's when it becomes, just like you said, you start noticing that other areas of your life that bring you joy, your relationships, your family, your work, your energy, and your like the way you show up in your career, it all dwindles and falters because of that one thing becoming out of balance. So yeah, I can completely relate, which leads me to my next question, which is, have you always been balanced? Has there ever been a time in your life where you didn't have balance?
Actually, going back to like when I started going to the gym, I think that it was when I was in college. I was in a sorority. I was very involved in my sorority and I loved it, but it was super stressful. And I literally started going to the gym because it was like I knew I was missing out on something, and it was like the physical activity component, but it was also like that was my escape, where I was like nobody was going to talk to me, nobody was going to mess with me, like that was my stress relief and that was my time. And the gym has always been that for me since then. So I feel like at that point in my life I did not have balance, and that's when I was like, I've got to figure it out because I'm going crazy.
And then the gym became that vice for you.
Yeah.
Would you ever say that you had like a toxic relationship with the gym, or like it was tough when things did kind of balance back out in your life to just have fun in the gym? Because I think for a lot of us as competitors, we will go through preps and the gym almost becomes a job and a chore, and you have a goal. There's like, I'm going to be in here for 3 hours a day up until 6 weeks, and then we get done with our show and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to go to the gym and train. That was a chore. And you have to kind of refine that passion for training.
I don't feel like I've like struggled with that.
Okay.
I think I go through like waves of I'm like super motivated and then I'm not as motivated, I guess, but it's never been to the point where I feel like it's a chore and I have like an unhealthy relationship with it.
Okay. So for girls that do feel like it could be a chore, what do you do to keep it from feeling that way?
Maybe switching it up, like incorporating something else. Like maybe one day a week you're switching out your classical gym day for like a yoga class or a Pilates class, or you're just switching it up in some way. You change your workouts. Like you're gonna literally hate this, but I'll like look up on TikTok and like incorporate new workouts that I find into like my typical routine just to like keep it fresh.
Now I will say that take that with a grain of salt, because I see you doing the same compound lifts for the bulk of your workout.
Right.
So you'll change up accessory movements. Maybe there's something that you do after you get those compounds in, but
correct.
The way you have the body that you have is because you do you do squat, you deadlift, you RDL, you all the things.
Yeah. So it's like when I'm getting bored of doing the same thing all the time, I'm like, oh, how can I spice it up a little bit?
Okay, cool. Moving right along. Next question here. How do you manage your time and make time for training and work?
Yeah, that's a good one. And I'm a morning person, so this is easy for me because I get up in the morning and I go to the gym before I start work. And to me, like, that provides no room for an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting the gym done before I even begin anything else about my day.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, like, I mean, a lot of other people are still sleeping by the time I'm getting home from the gym.
Right.
So it's, like, super easy to balance my time. Like, I don't have to sacrifice anything. Like, I can still do my after-work activities. I can make dinner. I can cook, hang out with my friends. Like, still have a full work day. Like, I don't have to stop in the middle of the day and, like, you know, get an exercise in. I just get it done in the morning and it's done.
Yeah. And I think that that's something, too, for even people who it may not come as naturally for them to be morning people. I'm not like that. Like, I'm happy in the morning, but I'm not the morning workout person, contrary to what, you know, it seems. But my workload just got too full.
Yeah.
And I was realizing that I didn't want to be going at night, because at night it winds you up.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you're coming home, you've got all these things to do, you've got a messy house, you've got to cook dinner. And like you said, it frees up your capacity. So I think there's something to be said for kind of doing what I have a lot of clients do, which is visual contrasting. And like picture yourself in light or in wake of your new job or working a 9 to 5. Picture yourself getting up in the morning and go through your day and see what that looks like. Now picture yourself going to the gym at night and see what that looks like. Can you picture yourself in one scenario over the other? And I think a lot of times we'll end up saying, I'm just going to wake up a little bit earlier. Like, it sucks for a few days.
Yeah.
I'm sure even now you don't wake up in the morning all the time and you're like, oh yeah,
no,
leg day, you know?
Yeah, it's just part of the routine. But I also think that I know myself enough to know that, like, I'm not going to go after work and I'm not going to go, like, at night after I've had dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there's no way that's going to happen. And I'm going to come up with a million other reasons as to why I can't go.
Yeah.
If I push it off till the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
being self-aware, too, of your own self. Yeah, and your hang-ups. Okay, next question for you is, how does training make you feel? And, which, this is like a 3-part question. How do you feel when you don't train? And if you don't train, what do you do to compensate? So you already kind of touched on training makes you feel energized, you feel confident, you feel prepared for the day.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say a day like Monday happens and you're unable to get to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel? Because I know some girls will feel guilty if they skipped a workout.
Yeah.
And so how do you compensate?
I'll go for like a walk or a run or something.
Okay.
Just so I'm like, at least I did something today.
So activity.
Yeah, some kind of activity. And I'm fine with it. I'm not like, beating myself up all day. And I also will, like, I'll go to the gym or I'll do something else on like Saturday instead to kind of make up for it. But I still will need to like go for a walk or run or be physically active in some sort.
Yeah, and that's probably because you've made the connection. I think a lot of us try to make connections like to the gym solely for looking a certain way. And it's normal to do that, but if you're always chasing a physical body, I think that a lot of times you're going to do what we just talked about, which is convince yourself to not go.
Yeah.
Because in reality, the body is not enough to get you to do the thing.
Yeah.
So you actually need to find a way to, if you're somebody who absolutely hates going to the gym, you need to find something that you find enjoyment in.
Yeah.
And find something that does get your day started on a high note. And does get those good endorphins and that dopamine and serotonin going. Yeah,
there's so many reasons that I go outside of just like, I want to look a certain way.
Right.
And I also think that if that's your only goal of like going to the gym and that's the only reason that, you know, you're getting up and you're going there in the morning, like if you're not seeing differences right away, like I think it's easy to get discouraged.
100%. 100%. And you're not going to see differences right away.
It takes time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. You've been training since college.
Yeah. So I think for a lot of people, like, they'll give up by the time they even create a real routine out of it. Because they're like, oh, I don't look stronger yet. Like, I haven't lost any weight yet, whatever. Because their only motive for going is because they want to, like, look in the mirror and see something different. Yeah.
Yeah. And in reality, too, it's the gym is one of those things where you're not going to see changes overnight, but you also look at your body every single day.
Yeah.
So if you skip for 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, you can tell.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
so you can really you can see changes, but it may not be the change that you're unrealistically expecting of yourself. You need to find something deeper to root into as you're getting going on this journey.
Yeah. And like recognize those things too. Like recognize that when you start your day by being physically active, you're more energized, like you're more into your work, like you just have a better day, you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. And feeling better about yourself, I would say, is probably one of the main reasons why women go to the gym, because when you feel better about yourself, you show up with this confidence in every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
And people pick up on that. We were just talking about people picking up on our feelings. Okay, so this next question, I would consider you a pretty social person. How do you socialize? Where do you set boundaries and draw a line while still embodying a healthy, fit girl?
Like, how do I socialize in the gym?
No, like outside of the gym, like with drinking and like the whole, like we go to tailgates and we go to happy hours. So how do you, socialize while also, I think a lot of girls our age struggle with that. It's like, for me, it's easy. I put the macros into my phone. I know how much I can have. I set a hard boundary for myself.
Yeah.
But for you, it's more just, I think it would be even harder because it's objective. It's like, what do I feel like doing tonight? Like, do you do any sort of like, I genuinely don't want to feel this way the next day? Or like, I want to be productive in the gym tomorrow? Or?
I feel like I don't think about it very much, honestly, but it's also because I'm like social during the week, but like I'll come over and hang out with you, or like I'll hang out with my sister, I coach cheerleading, like I'm social in those ways, but it's not impacting like my eating habits or like what time I'm going to sleep and if I'm gonna like be super productive tomorrow. So the only times that I'm really social to where it impacts that is on the weekends, and that's when I have my rest days anyway, so I'm like,
Okay. But even then, you're not the girl that goes out and like, because she hasn't drank all week, or like because she hasn't like had a drink at every single weekend, like takes it to an extreme.
Yeah.
So for you, like, where do you draw the line and how do you set boundaries there? Like,
I've never really truly been like that.
Okay.
So I never have had to like make a switch. But I also think it's something that a lot of people grow out of. So, like, I don't know. In college, I think that's just kind of what you do because it's what everyone around you does.
Yeah.
But then when you're more of, like, a working professional, it's like, it's not really what you do anymore.
Yeah, 100%. And that was I think one of my questions about so this leads into my next question, which is do you think your environment, as in who you surround yourself, plays a role in the way that you like care about your body and your health?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because it's also like who you're surrounded by is like, I don't know, when you're hanging out with friends, like you're not going to go to separate places to eat.
Right.
And if like they're eating food that is like junk, then you're going to go eat junk.
Right.
And if their habits are like go and binge drink and like get to the point where you're blacking out all the time every weekend, like that's what you do too, because you're with them.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to do it too.
When you said that, I thought you meant like that's what you do too. I was like, okay. So yeah, I mean that completely makes sense. I think that that's something too that even as me and you two being single, you know, it's like we'll see these guys and they might be cute on the outside, but then we see what they do on the weekends and they see like they stay up till 4 a.m. and like we're getting like butt dialed for like drunk calls from them, and it's like that's just not my lifestyle. And I think a lot of people will almost sacrifice some of their values, or maybe not even their current values, but who they want to be, because they want to conform to the friends that once were, or the guy that once was, or the guy that they think that they should be with. And it's like, no, date up, friend up.
100%.
Because your environment, literally, not just even in respect to your health and fitness, but like the way that you see yourself, right? If you're hanging out with girlfriends that always look in the mirror and fat. Probably sounds like me this week, but you know, like if that's all that they say, what do you start looking at yourself and thinking?
Right. Very true. I think you have to be self-aware too of like when you're making new friends, like you kind of need to look at like what are their habits, like would I want to go do that with them? Like no, okay, then I'm not gonna really like push to be this girl's best friend. Your environment really shapes you, and I think having people in your life that support you. Jenni and I just went out to dinner this past Friday, and I've told probably 5 people about our conversation, where we talked for about an hour, maybe less, but about competing. And Jenni was just asking me like, basically, if I'm summing up the conversation, like how do I support you in that? Not because she's going to do it, but it was like, I still want to hang out with you. I still want to be your friend. So what activities can we do? Can I come over and bring food? Can we go go-karting? Like, what can we do to still spend time with one another? And I think like from somebody who's a competitor and somebody who's not a competitor, a lot of times competitors will isolate themselves in prep. So I think it's important that there is this like open line of communication, whether that's between your girlfriends or whether that's between your fiance or your boyfriend, that you guys are figuring out, this is more competitor talk, but figuring out ways to support each other and cultivate that relationship. Find things, activities that you can do. You don't need to isolate yourself. And if you're not a competitor, you don't need to isolate yourself, even if this is something in starting to take care of yourself and working out in the gym is something that none of your social circle does. You will meet people in that environment. Okay. Next question. What about your environment as in your home? Do you think that your home makes a difference, like having a clean and tidy home? Oh yeah. I've always been, we were just talking about this, especially because I work from home. I feel like my space needs to be like clean and tidy and like, you know, always looking good, because it just makes me feel better about it. But it's also like what I keep in my house, like food wise. Like I'll eat junk if junk is in my house. I don't buy junk, so I don't eat junk. So I think, your space makes a big difference.
I think especially for people our age who are working from home, you know, like not keeping like sodas in the pantry. And like, I can't remember the last time I had a soda, but like it's small things. Like if you're not going to be able to have self-control around those little public sugar cookies, and don't keep a sleeve of, you know, 3 rows of it at your house. Same thing with just cleanliness of your home. Right? Like when you don't have a clean and organized space, you are going to feel unclean and very unorganized in your head. I feel
like absolute chaos even if like there's laundry on my bed that I need to put away. Like I feel chaotic in my brain.
Yeah. So I think, having that set day in your week really does help you to kind of like get everything nice and organized, plan out your gym days. Like if you're somebody who has meetings on random days, get your gym clothes nice and clean, come home to a clean place. It makes you feel better all around.
And you're like ready to take on the week.
Yeah. So how do you manage your nutrition? As I know it's quite different from mine. You don't track macros and don't weigh your food. So I know that some of the things we talked about was, you've touched on this in the past, so I'm kind of answering this for you, but you could talk on it more. And that is that you'll call me and say, okay, so for breakfast, I'm having this week, for lunch, I'm having this week, and for dinner, I'm alternating between these things. So can you kind of talk about how that works for you, and kind of keeps you on track for the week? Like what do you do to plan out your meals?
I mean, I do it because I like to eat pretty clean because I know that I feel good when I do that, but I also do it because I cook all the time. So like I take one grocery trip and it's on Sundays and I'm going to get everything that I need for the whole week. So I have to plan it in order to do that. So I plan out like what I'm going to eat for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner. And it honestly stays pretty much the same. I'll just like alternate. I literally have on my notes on my phone just like lists of like different dinners I've ever made, and like every Sunday I look through and I'll call my sister and I'm like, what should I make for dinner this week? And I pick out like 3 things that I haven't used in the rotation in a while, and I'm like, all right, that's what it is. And then for lunches it's pretty much always like a salad or like a sandwich or a wrap or something along those lines.
Okay.
And then for breakfast it's always like eggs and strawberries and like toast.
Okay.
Or a variation of those things.
Okay. Protein, fat, carb, basically. Yep. Okay. And do you follow anything like that? Like when you are planning out those dinners and putting them in your phone, do you look for like protein, fat, carb?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always do protein, fat, carb.
Okay. Were you gonna say something?
Vegetable.
Micros.
I eat a lot of vegetables.
Micros. Yes. Okay. And I also wanted to touch on like, there's a lot of girls who, when they want to start being healthy, I know we talked about not keeping junk food in the house, but you also, I know you've talked about this, have a treat every single night. Do you find that allowing yourself to have that and not restricting you keeps you from, when you do have access to, like tonight we're gonna make creamies and you're gonna have access to Oreos and caramel and like all the things, that you don't like go overboard? Like, do you think it's important to have those things in your life?
I mean, I think so. Because I think some people, too, like, when they do go and eat a dessert, like, they overdo it. And, like, it literally makes you feel sick when you overdo it. And I think I just have, like, a little sweet every night. And I know that, like, I only need a little bit.
Yeah.
For my sweet tooth, and then that's it.
Yeah. When I have clients that I'm trying to sort of desensitize from those binge foods, so to speak, I will do the exact opposite. They're always like, you want me to do what? I'm like, I want you to portion it out and I want you to allow yourself to have it every day. Because it desensitizes you from that food.
Yeah.
I had a client who was like addicted to kids cereal, and I did that with her, and now she eats kids cereal every single day like a champ. Like it's not even a thing.
Yeah.
But before, she couldn't even have a box of it in her house. And I see a lot of girls like struggle with that. I'll get inquiries and stuff, and they'll get on the phone with me and they're like, yeah, but if I have peanut butter or Nutella and strawberries in the house, I'm eating the whole jar. And I think it's all about, like you said, balance. Everything it exists in life in balance.
Yeah.
So on the topic of food, what are some of your favorite easy staple meals?
I love like any kind of like bowl. Like I'll do like a rice bowl with like, I'll do kind of like fajita vegetables and chicken or ground turkey, and then I'll switch it up and I'll do like another type of rice bowl that's more of like a teriyaki chicken with like broccoli. And then I'll do like pastas sometimes, but my staples are always like either a pasta or a rice with like mostly chicken because I don't really eat seafood that much, and then broccoli's my go-to right now.
Okay.
But it's
and then you switch up the sauces.
Yeah.
So I actually instruct my clients when they're learning how to create meals and not get overwhelmed. I call it the 2 to the 4th method. And essentially the 4 are protein, fat, carb, micro.
Mm-hmm.
And I will have them pick out 2 of each and then just buy a slew of low-calorie sauces. So the soyaki from Trader Joe's, coconut aminos, hot sauce, marinara sauce, like, I don't know, olive oil-based dressings. Trying to think of other low-calorie sauces, like G. Hughes sauces from Walmart. Like, all those things, and then they can switch up the flavor profiles and just do combinations and permutations of different carb, different protein, different fat, different, and just kind of do it that way.
And you don't get bored of it.
100%, but it's so easy, and it's cheap to do it that way. Okay, last few questions here. How do you monitor how you feel and weigh? Because I know you don't weigh yourself daily.
No. How do I monitor how I feel?
So
like my weight, like if I see my weight fluctuating.
So like if you let's just say you like have like overdone, or I don't know, like if you see things fluctuate, then like what's your gauge? Do you judge it by how you look in the mirror? Do you judge it by how your clothes fit?
I guess I judge it by how my clothes fit.
Okay.
My weight doesn't fluctuate very much, though.
Okay. So you think.
So
Jenni's not weighed herself in like a year.
I don't weigh myself, so I could be completely wrong. But like my clothes are still fitting.
Yeah. Okay. When you feel like you might have overdone it some, like maybe you had like a week away at like, I don't know, you haven't had any bachelorette parties yet.
Not yet.
But she's got 7 this year. But when you feel like you've overdone it some, how do you pull in the reins? Like, what does that look like for you? For me, my coach says, all right, 20 minutes of cardio every day, and we're dropping carbs by 20 every day. But for you, what does pulling in the reins look like? Is it just reestablishing the boundary with like when you go out and when you stay home? Is it cutting out your sweet treat?
I don't think it's either of those.
Okay.
I think it's just like whenever I'm on a vacation and I get back, I get right back to like eating clean, going to the gym every day, and I'll probably like go on a couple runs extra.
Okay. So a little bit more movement.
Yeah.
And getting back into routine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm not sacrificing my social time with my friends the following weekend, and I'm not sacrificing like anything else that I enjoy.
Okay, that's good advice. How do you stay motivated when you don't have a show date? Like for me, it's very, very easy for me to show up in that gym when I know that I'm getting on stage next year. For you, how do you stay going, showing up every day?
I feel like I just see progress in myself, and like I feel stronger, and I think that I like have been looking stronger, and I think that's just motivating enough for me to keep going.
Okay.
It's just the consistency and then actually like seeing the results and feeling good about it.
Okay. 2 more questions.
Okay.
Since you don't have a coach, when do you feel like you're not progressing or you're backsliding? What are some things that you do to either stay objective or to make modifications? So that first part of the question, you kind of just answered, I guess. Like for me, if I have a problem, like I am like all of a sudden gaining weight, or I don't know, my clothes are fitting a little bit differently. Like my coach is my vice. Like I go immediately to my coach, and like they will help make modifications to my plan. Your modification, as you just said, is kind of just making sure you're on your routine, checking yourself there.
Yeah.
But in the gym, like how do you make modifications to your programs and things like that? Do you switch things up other than those few exercises or do you follow a training program?
No, I don't follow any training program. I think the first part of the question, I think like you're changing what you're eating and like how you're working out a lot. So your body is changing a lot based on that, but I don't change things ever. So I'm really not seeing these like huge fluctuations that I'm like, what's going on?
True.
Like, I don't see that, so I'm never like, oh, I need to talk to someone to figure out what's happening.
Okay.
Because I'm just always doing the same thing, so I'm really not seeing a whole lot of change.
Okay.
The second part, I think, Yeah, I mean, I'll switch out like some movements here and there, but I'll also just try and like, maybe I'll try and like increase my weights one week, or I don't know.
Okay. Do you focus on like time under tension, eccentrics, things like that?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I'll try that. If I'm feeling like, like I'm just like stagnant, I'll try doing stuff like that.
Okay. What's your current training split? It wasn't a question, but.
Mondays I'll do kind of like hamstring focused. Tuesdays I'll do back and buys. Wednesdays I'll do more like quad focused. Thursdays I'll do triceps and shoulders, and then Fridays I'll kind of do whatever I feel like doing. But most of the time it's like glutes, and then
I kind of
throw
like
in
that.
my pull-ups a lot because I'm really working on those.
Pull-ups? Okay,
Yeah.
so that's probably too a way that you can kind of progress and make modifications to your program is, I tell clients this all the time who are lifestyle clients. Let's set some progress related goals. Like maybe you go in and your goal is now 5 pull-ups, and on hip thrust you want to hit 250 or 275. You're like, bitch, I do 300. But like still, you know, like you want to like make progress in that way. It feels good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely set goals for myself.
Okay. And you're in the gym for like
is my main goal.
for like 50 minutes to an hour at least, right? An hour?
An hour at least, yeah. Usually I'm there for like an hour and 15 minutes, it seems like.
Okay.
Because I'll warm up for like, I don't know, 5-10ish minutes at the beginning, like stretch, warm up, and then at the end I'll always do core. So then my actual workout is like 50-ish minutes.
Okay.
And then the other stuff puts me
And
at
your
like
warm
an
up
hour
is
and
usually
15.
a little bit of cardio, right?
Yeah.
And then dynamic warm up, like a stretch. And then you train. How many exercises would you say on average you do per lift?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I get really carried away and I do a lot. And then sometimes I'll just do like 4 or 5.
Okay. And then you do core every day?
I don't know why, but yes, I do.
Okay, we're gonna stop that. Don't do as Jenni says. I'm the coach. Okay, and this is our closing thoughts here.
Okay.
What advice do you have for a girl who's looking to start getting in shape but doesn't necessarily want to compete, or maybe she does, and wants to keep balance in her life?
Advice for someone who wants to start getting into shape.
Start getting into shape. Maybe she wants to get into the gym, but like the end goal really is to, well, let's just start there. What's advice that you have for her?
Just to start going.
Just show up.
Just show up. It's hard to get there sometimes. But as soon as you're there, it's like, all right, I'm here, let's do it. Like literally just show up.
And then, you know, if she wants to keep balance in her life and to keep from kind of creating this toxic relationship with the gym,
right?
I think maybe you kind of touched on that, but are you sensing what I'm sensing?
No.
Oh.
I'm not.
Well, I think what you talked about at the beginning, which is recognizing that in and of itself is the realization. If you want to keep balance in your life, you need to recognize the other things in your life that are also bringing balance.
Yeah.
So, like
and
you
it's
said,
making time for all of it.
making time for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recognizing that the gym is the new addition.
Right.
Not your friends, not your family.
You're not sacrificing other things that you enjoy.
Right.
Because you're adding this in.
So a lot of times you need to actually carve out time for something like this. Maybe at a less desirable time. But then when you start feeling and recognizing and honoring the benefits of that.
Yeah.
And it goes way beyond your body. It's when you meet the Jennies. Right? I would have never, had I not gotten up in the morning, I would have never met Jenni.
That's right.
And now we train every day together. Almost. Except Wednesdays and Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah. And it's like, we're both like a lost puppy when the other person's
Yeah.
there. I always text her, because sometimes I forget that you're not there. And I'll text her and say like, are you lost?
Yeah.
Why aren't you here?
Yeah. Or in the morning I'll text her and like I'm sitting here and I'll like have woke up late or something, or I've had check-ins with my coach. And I'll text her and be like, I'm coming. Like I can like hear her already. It's like, are you here?
It's because I gave you a hard time one time.
Yeah.
Remember? I was like, you've been getting there kind of late.
Well, she gave me a hard time on a Tuesday after I had check-ins. So now what I do is I take my check-in pictures on Monday. So the only thing I have to do on Tuesday morning is submit my form so I can get there on time.
It's good.
But I also hate working out now without you there. Like, I need somebody to go up to a bitch.
Yeah.
Like, or like complain about someone or like point fingers.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for filming this with me.
You're
I hope
welcome.
you guys all loved it. Yeah, I wanted to bring somebody on here. I actually have plans to bring quite a few other people in to have conversations with you all on these educational topics. But starting off on a real high note, Jenni is such a special girl. And like I said, I just thought that she could bring a lot of value into this community and this space, just speaking on behalf of what it really looks like to embody someone who takes care of themselves and have it go beyond just the way you look physically. What does that take for someone in their 20s? How do they make time for it? What sacrifices need to be made? Does there actually need to be all that many sacrifices? And ultimately just how to get there and be successful in doing it. You just got to dive in. But if you're in your 20s, or if you're not, you can be older or younger, and you want to talk about these things with somebody, this is kind of our wheelhouse. So I wish you all a very, very, very great rest of your week. I will be here next week. I hope you will be too. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment down below if you would like to see more of these videos, maybe which topics you want to see, and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.